Welcome to UPNO Live. What's going on, everybody? I am your host, Ryan James. I'm here with Shayla Bowman of SugaredbyShay Desserts. How you doing, Shayla?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty good. You know what? First off, I want to say it's a your process with the desserts, and like, I looked at the strawberries and looked at the different designs, like, tell me about your process. Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? Like when you are you dipping it? Are you dipping the chocolate? Are you doing things like that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So I really prefer to use like kind of melts. I like sweet shop.
Okay.
But the melts, they tend to be pretty thick, so you have to melt them down with like Crisco or something like that. As far as my designs and stuff, I would practice on the back of a spoon.
Okay.
And I would just drizzle the back of the spoon, and I would practice like the little swirls and everything. So I really wasn't wasting strawberries, because strawberries and chocolate, that's like they're expensive. They really are.
How much money you spend on it first off? Like when you're doing that, like on strawberries?
It just depends on how big an order is. So like one pack of strawberries, I can get maybe a dozen strawberries out of them.
Okay.
So, and it's hit or miss, because I like to use big berries. I don't like to use the little ones, because I feel like if people are paying, you know, $100 for an order, I would be mad if I just got this little tiny strawberry the size of my pinky. So I always pick out the good strawberries. I always make sure that they're fresh. They're like a deep red. You don't want something that's, you know, tastes like it's not even ripe yet.
Got it.
So yeah, it's a process. It really is. It's not as easy as just picking a strawberry up and dipping it.
And you know what? Somebody probably think that somewhere like, she's just dipping it.
Yeah, she's just dipping it. That's all she's doing. Like you gotta know what good products are. You gotta know the process, how to melt it. You can't just pop it on the stove or pop it in the microwave. It's got to be, your chocolate has to be a certain temperature. You have to melt it for like a certain amount of time, or else the middle of your chocolate will burn, and it gets all lumpy. And
so it's a science to it.
Yeah.
So like people need to understand, like, you really are taking your time and making sure this is right. I like that. Yeah. So I also see pineapples. Are you doing pineapples?
Yeah, that's a process too.
Okay.
So whenever you're dipping fruit, you have to make sure that your fruit is, whatever it is, you have to make sure that it's completely dry. So with pineapples, you have to freeze it, at least for, I like to do 24 hours. If you pull it out of the freezer too quickly, the middle's not all the way frozen, and juices just leak through. You mix any kind of liquid with chocolate, it immediately starts to clump. So like you have to just freeze it. I use parchment paper, especially for candied fruit. You use wax paper, it's going to rip right off on your candy, so you're getting paper with it too. so I know, it's a process, but it's getting, I find it to go a lot faster for me now. Since I've been doing it for some time, I know what works and doesn't work. I don't know it all when it comes to treats, so.
How long you been baking? We were talking a little bit about where you're at with baking. You do cheesecakes.
So this is about my first year doing anything baking wise. I stuck to like the chocolate covered treats for the longest. I have no background in baking, never took culinary, nothing like that. So everything that I do is self-taught, and I just watch videos on if I don't know how to do it. But yeah, everything is homemade. So all the cheesecake, you know. I don't go to the store and cut up, you know, all the pre-made cheesecakes, like when I'm doing the churro cheesecakes or cheesecake rolls. No, I homemade everything. I just feel like it tastes better when you do it that way, and it's really you. Like, you know, it's not like I'm buying Kroger's cheesecake and then I'm cutting up fruit and putting it all together. So yeah, so it's just all me.
So what would you say is your best seller right now?
Everybody's been into the churro stuff. So whether it's like the churro trays, churro cheesecake bites, which are so good. Gosh, I gotta stop myself from eating a lot of myself. You're like the big, like you're always testing everything in your kitchen, you know? Yeah, so that's probably my best seller. And of course the strawberries. Everybody loves the strawberries.
Yes. You know, it was a girl told me, like, she knew I was gonna have you on the show, and she said, I've had her treats, and she was like, it's very professional. They look good. The presentation is just beautiful.
Thank you.
Like good reviews.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
man, you know what I mean? I said you had not only just something I've seen that looks good, but you have a really big reputation.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And I always, and in all humbleness, I've never had somebody complain about my work.
Yeah.
And I always let people know, like, if there's something that you don't like, or, you know, something just didn't taste right, just reach back out. Like, I have no problem, you know, refunding whatever I feel like is fair, or I'll give you a discount off your next order. So I always make sure to take those professional, you know, measures, even though I'm just based outside of my home.
Right. Nice.
So it's important, because when you go from your home to a shop, that is my goal one day, you just want to make sure that all that professionalism, the kindness, the customer service, all that follows through.
Yes, and it cares.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
So, let's see, you've been, you said you're getting your hands kind of wet into the whole baking process.
Yeah.
So, where would you say at, like, in your cake and cupcakes, where are you at in that journey?
Very beginner. Yeah, very beginner. It's very tedious. It really is.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm not really charging customers like for my time for the cakes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so just charging them for cake, or for the cake cost, or the supply cost, or whatever. Because, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable, you know, looking at a cake on a picture. You can easily say this cake's going to be $120, but you got to compare the picture to what you can actually perform.
Yes.
So right now, until I know exactly what I'm doing, I just like to charge, you know, supply costs.
Nice.
I'm really hoping that I can become a pro at cakes and stuff, because seeing some of this level of other people, it's really impressive. It really is.
So what do you think about, like, you know, we talked, you're in nursing school.
Yeah.
And you're going to be finished here pretty soon, am I right?
Yep, December.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty sure your journey with, like, nursing school, this is what I'm about to do, nurse, and that's where your aspirations are at, and then all of a sudden, you start growing in this thing. So, like, how does that make you feel, like, coming into your own entrepreneurship and really this business starting to boom? Like, what has that opened up for you?
A lot of sleepless nights. It really is. A lot of sleepless nights. But, so it's like my business is really taking off, and then I'm in, like, coming up to my last semester of nursing school. So it's like clinicals, you got to make sure, so like all my classes are full-time, clinicals, and then you got to study and stuff outside of that.
Yeah.
So it's been really hard juggling everything. It really has, because I want to put in my 100% into every order I ever do. That's so important. But I also want to put in 100% in the school, which I'm doing that. Yeah. It's just, it's a lot. It really is. It's a lot.
It gets draining. I definitely understand. So would you say, you know, the more this business grows, like right now you're just going with the flow?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're letting it grow, and if something pops off that may have you doing something you love doing, it pops off. I get that. Yeah, because a lot of times when we come into that entrepreneurial space and we just stuff starts growing for us and we didn't know it, we just was like, this is a simple hobby I like doing. Yeah. And then next thing you know, thinking like, you know?
Yeah.
And that's hard, because we still living. We still got to live. We still got to pay the rent. We still got to take care of our business. And we still got to pursue the things we're pursuing. So whether it's a business degree or whether it's a nursing degree, it's like we're still trying to keep our hat in there, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely tough. So what has been some of your probably obstacles upon doing nursing school in this? Some days that you just feel like, this thing got kind of tough on me.
So here lately, with my business really starting to get out there, typically I've never had to turn down a customer. Okay. And that's not a good feeling at all.
Exactly.
But, you know, you got to do what you got to do, because you got to make sure you're going to clinicals, you got to make sure you're turning in your assignments, everything like that.
Yes.
But one thing I've really had to crack down on is deposits. So sometimes I have issues with people paying deposits, and if there's an issue on my end, I always tell people like, hey, I'm having an issue with like, you know, Cash App or something like that. So like, I'll make sure your spot's secure, just pay me at pickup or whatever. But some people just don't want to pay the deposit. So I always tell people, you know, like I'm getting really booked this week. So, and you know, this amount of people already paid their deposits. And if you really want your spot secured, like you've got to pay that deposit. So that's been one thing, is kind of prioritizing orders, especially who's paid in full already, who's paid their deposit, who's just kind of like, you know, being a little flaky or just not paying their deposit, whatever. So I've had to really prioritize orders and just, you know, really stick to like the whole deposit rule and everything like that.
And so more or less, you just have to really be strict on your business. And you know, a lot of people may think in the entrepreneur role, and you know, whether we doing something and since it's not put out there in the mainstream, you know, in the professional environment yet, then you're supposed to just, you know, just go ahead and do this for me. I'm gonna pay you.
And you know what? It's even more expensive for us small businesses to do things because you know, we're not a big corporation where we're getting, you know, loads in from GFS or something. Like we got to go to the store, we got to order stuff off of Amazon. Like this is literally money that we're pulling out of our 9-to-5 job or our savings. So it's like
that's so correct.
They really have to understand the length of small businesses. We're only small because we're based in our home. But you know, there's nothing cheap about it. There's nothing easy about it.
You are correct. So you were talking about supplies. So what a lot of supplies do you use when, like without the like you got your ingredients, but what supplies do you use for a lot of your shaping and designs?
Just depending on what it is, I make a lot of things like by hand with fondant, or you can use like cookie cutters, anything like that. You can also make like icing decor, or what is it? Using an edible printer. And that's how I print out like a lot of like my edible images and stuff like that. So that's pricey too.
So like a lot of the stuff, you know, have the edible printer and stuff like that. Wow. And I bet you that was a pretty large investment.
And it was, And even the icing sheets that you use for those aren't even cheap at all. So it's a lot, but it's anybody who is starting out a small business, my best advice to everybody is invest in yourself, invest in your goals, invest in your business.
Invest in yourself, invest in your goals, invest in your business. You know, it's crazy that I told people when I did my ribbon cutting, and they asked me, they was like, I said, the majority of the stuff was just in my basement. And I said, I decided to get it out of my basement, and literally I took a few extra bucks of money that I'm going to be blowing anyway, you know what I mean, when I actually got my newer job. And once I got that, it was like I just invested it in myself, and then it grown into this, and it has a big opportunity of growing into more. And I'm like, this just started off with a little extra money I was going to blow. I said, so that's what I thought about that. And I said, I invested in myself. So I feel better if I'm like pinching it down to the wire, because I'm like, I'm investing in myself. I'm like, I can't, you know, you feel mad when you blow money on stupid stuff. But like knowing like I invested in myself, that makes me feel better.
For sure.
You know, so what have we got coming up?
So I will be at a pop-up shop June 30th. I want to say it's somewhere in the Brickyard. The exact location is to be announced. So I would have to get back with who's hosting that. But there will be a lot of people there. Julian, he does artwork. He'll be there. Shay Harris, she'll be there, who does photography.
Awesome. Shout out to Shay Harris too, by the way. You know, she does great work. She's been a great friend along the whole entrepreneur business, always supporting, giving great advice. So nice. You know, I actually, I don't know if is that a Final Friday event?
That's Final Friday.
And then, you know, the cool thing about that, next week I'm interviewing Jennifer Gerbic. She actually runs the whole Final Friday thing. So I'm going to have her in here, so I'll make sure, like, I'll put some more drops in there, you know what I mean, let her know to, like, get your treats going, and you know, let's build that up. I'm hoping to get down there myself.
Yeah, it should be a great turnout because it's 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
It's Final Friday,
Yes.
so I'm
Yes.
hoping that it'll be a great turnout. I think it will be, and
Yes.
it's going to be so fun either way. It
And
is.
everybody gets to see your stuff right there.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna pre-make a bunch of stuff?
Yep. So, just a little idea of what I want to do. Everybody loves the chocolate covered strawberries,
Yes.
so I'm going to be doing some of those. I'm going to be doing some of one of my bestseller cupcakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing cake pops,
Yeah.
pretzels, the churro cheesecake bites.
Yeah,
So I'm going
yeah.
to be doing like a bunch of things for people to try.
Got it.
And they'll be individually priced, so that way people don't have to buy like a big bundle
Got
of
it,
them.
got
And,
it.
yeah.
What's the strategy when you're dealing with these covered fruits in heat?
So the nice thing about almond bark is that almond bark, really chocolate covered strawberries, period, you really don't have to refrigerate them. They're actually, they taste better when you don't refrigerate them.
Okay.
So that's my preference. But yeah, with the almond bark, you don't have to refrigerate and they don't melt whatsoever.
Nice.
So they actually start to harden within, I want to say about 2 minutes of dipping them.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm really not too worried. And then
Yeah.
I do have, there were like these display containers that I got
Okay.
a while back, and you actually can put like these ice packs in the bottom, and you can close
Nice.
it off, so it kind of just keeps it cool. And,
Nice.
yeah, so
Yeah, so you're
it's
ready to go.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's like, you know, because this summer heat is no joke.
And we'll also be inside too, so that'll
Nice,
help.
nice,
So we're not
nice.
going to be just right outside.
Yeah,
and it'll
yeah.
be later in the evening, so the sun shouldn't be
Yeah.
bad. and
Yes, yes.
It should be starting to cool off a little bit, but
Great. That's
Yeah.
nice. You know what? I'm glad you came on the show today.
yeah, thank you for inviting me.
You know, I appreciate everything, your entrepreneurship. I love it when a young person just dives into their entrepreneurship and just goes after it. And because we need more people like you taking something they love and putting it out there, you know, in a business type of format. It's beautiful to see. It's more things, more professionals like yourself should always be recognized, and I'm glad I can come recognize
Thank
you
you
today.
so much.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thanks for inviting me.
Shayla
again.
Bowman, Sugared by Shay Desserts. I'm Ryan James. Thank you for stopping in at UPNO Live. Appreciate everything you do, and we'll be seeing you. Peace.